I first heard about this topic after watching one of Ethan Van Sciver's videos and also seeing a tweet that he had recently posted about the situation. So if you want like another opinion or another take on all of this, please go make sure to check out his video and the tweets that followed. I'd also encourage you to look into this information for yourself. Do not just take everything that you hear at face value. Be sure to go look into some of this information. I do not have all the answers here. I will be reporting kind of what's going on and then giving my opinion on the whole situation. But hopefully more information will be revealed as time goes on. The comic convention that we're going to be talking about today happened actually last week. So the information that we're getting today is from like essentially what happened a week ago. So more information will probably come out as this weekend progresses, but like I said, I would highly encourage everyone to go look into this for themselves. The other thing I'd like to note here is just this notion that by simply reporting on this or discussing this, that I am inherently creating controversy or clickbaiting for a certain audience, when in all actuality, it's a lot of these individuals who do it to themselves, who just hand us these stories on a silver platter and then wonder why or how we market to an outrage audience or something. And it's honestly because of like individuals like this that we're about to talk about who depend on just virtue signaling and posturing and pandering to a small sliver or portion of an audience that we're going to talk about, who could have left this whole situation alone in the first place, not even mentioned it, not even brought it up. No one would have been hurt. And like I said, the convention happened a week ago. And so for him to bring this stuff up, to bring all this stuff to light, completely ridiculous. And I don't see how this helps anyone in any way. So let's just get right into it. This individual, Mad Ruth, who I'm going to pull up for you guys right now. This individual, Mad Ruth, he is a avid reader, writer, painter, video gamer, movies, and comic book fan. Love it. Not once in his bio here does he mention Comicsgate. But this individual here, Mad Ruth, is the individual in question of being banned or potentially blacklisted from this comic book convention out in Canada called Big Country Comic Expo, to which they just released this announcement literally today, so 19 hours ago. But Mad Ruth here was seen at the comic convention last week, to which this individual, Callum Johnson, decided to approach and confront Mad Ruth about being at the convention. So Callum Johnson here responds to Mad Ruth's tweet, which basically says, "If it needs to be said, I'll say it once again for those who need to hear it. I do not discriminate or judge anyone based on race, color, creed, gender, political, or sexual orientation. I treat everyone equally as I wish to be treated. All are welcome. Can you say the same?" He then goes to say that, I just finished a 2-day Comic-Con and it was awesome, but some asshat came up and asked if I was Mad Ruth. I said yes. Then they asked if I heard of Watergate I asked from the 60s and they snickered at me, you know what I mean, and walked away. Whatever. So Callum actually outs himself here by responding to him saying the asshat never snickered but was genuinely concerned that you might be getting involved with a group that is rather reprehensible and wanted to check if you knew that. Whatever. So they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until Callum makes this tweet here and says, "I was set up at the show. Checking the social feeds about the show and see this retweet from Comicsgate.org about the show from Mad Ruth. I check Ruth's feed and it doesn't seem to be stupid or thick with Comicsgate crap." We're about to get into that in a second. "So I was worried that someone affiliated with the show was being taken in." And here's the tweet in question from Comicsgate. Then he says, asked by Mad Ruth if he was familiar with Watergate, as pretty much anything ending in gate is bad news. He seemed to know about it, so I was concerned for his well-being. For nothing, apparently. He knows what he's doing. So back to kind of what he was saying about looking at Mad Ruth's feed. If you look at Mad Ruth's feed on Twitter, It is super wholesome. He says, avid reader, writer, painter, video gamer, movies, novels, and comic book fan, has his Indiegogo campaign, Soultac, I believe. Go check it out. He's got his YouTube channel, and his page is mostly, like, I'd say 90% comics. And even though he may post like maybe a political thing here or there, it's not hateful or bigoted. It's not attacking anyone. It's not violent in any way. But let's keep going down his comic here. Another Indiegogo comic. The announcement from the Big Country Comic Conventional. Here's another Indiegogo project, his project. Here's another comic book on Indiegogo, his comic, another comic book, some comic book art, some comic book, it looks like action figures and art, some more comic book art, his comic, more comic book art. Like, this is his feed. This is the individual in question that this, Canadian comic book convention has now banned and blacklisted from their actual convention. So after this confrontation, it's under my impression that Mad Ruth reached out to Ethan Van Sciver telling him, hey, here's what happened, here's the announcement, this is what's going on right now. And so basically Mad Ruth is a volunteer for this convention. He is giving of his time to go volunteer, and he says, I ran ticket sales and coffee, I drove artists, and probably other volunteer work. But someone at the convention searched my social media and figured out I was Comicsgate, sought me out in real life and on Twitter. So after Mad Ruth spoke with Ethan Van Sciver, this is what Ethan had to say. This is astonishing, but a good reminder. The comic industry is very, very sick. When this convention discovered that one of their volunteers was aligned with Comicsgate, they felt the need to release a statement unpersoning him viciously. These people have no morals. Now, we're going to get to the announcement here in just a second, so let me go ahead and pull this up. Basically, the announcement says, it has been brought to our attention that one of the volunteers at Big Country Comics Expo 2022 is associated with a movement that does not align with our values in the comics community. Big Country Comics and Allied Legends values inclusivity, diversity, and community. We encourage everyone to celebrate their differences and beliefs. All people should have strong representation within the art community and feel welcomed and supported. This individual's association with a group known to be against our core values comes as a shock to our team. To anyone who is bothered by this association, we provide our most sincere apologies. We continue to see this volunteer and comic creator publicly voices his dissatisfaction on social media against one of our top supporters, not only to the Big Country Comic Expo, but also a very respected member to the entire comics community. For this, we ask you to stop. This association was not brought to our attention until after our show had finished. We will be implementing further protocols for future events to ensure this does not happen again. If any of our guests, vendors, artists, or customers ever feel unwelcome or have a concern they feel should be brought to our attention, we encourage you to discuss the matter directly with any member of our director team, Big Country Comics, and Allied Legends. All right, now before we get into my thoughts on the situation, do not go harass or attack or do anything with any of these individuals within this situation. I ask that you do not go contact them through any means, whether that's Twitter or Instagram. This is solely their issue, so do not go seek them out and start any controversial conversation. So here are my thoughts on the situation. Basically, to sum everything up, Mad Ruth was at the convention as a volunteer, giving of his time, being there because he loves and is passionate about this hobby, loves comic books, and just wants to volunteer and help out the convention. He's there giving of his time. This individual, Callum Johnston, decides that he's a menace to society because he belongs to Comicsgate and decided to report him, like any good little hall monitor should, to the actual comic convention, to which the comic convention released this press release saying, here's our announcement, we are inclusive of everyone except for Comicsgate, essentially, and that we will be putting practices in that won't allow people to of this caliber to attend our conventions ever again. My whole thought on this scenario is just, it's sad. It is absolutely reflective of our comic community right now and the comic industry in general. Callum Johnson claims to say that he is, trying to do this for the betterment of the community, and that he was just really checking on, to see if he was worried that someone affiliated with that show was being taken in. He was worried for him, guys. He was the White Knight. He was the protector. He's the good guy here. Right, Callum? I mean, how much more pandering can you get? This guy is posturing for an audience, like I said earlier, of a sliver of the population, of people who have no idea either what Comicsgate is or have no idea who this guy is or this comic convention. And here's the thing that I had said at the beginning of the video as well. If Callum never brought this up, if he just let this dude do his thing and was like, you know what, Comicsgate, they're here at the convention, they have a right to be here, everyone has a right to be there, they're there, they're gonna do their thing, no one got hurt, no one got called out, no one got in trouble about anything, leave them alone. Leave them the fuck alone. And that's the thing that Callum couldn't do. He just had to posture. He just had to say, I was worried that this helpless little man was potentially being, consumed by Comicsgate. No. Mad Ruth is perfectly, he's a grown man, served in our military, God bless you, Semper Fi, and this Callum Johnson decides to go out and White Knight and be the savior of humanity, calling out the bad Comicsgate men. So he goes, he seemed to know what he was concerned for. He seemed to know about it, so I was concerned for his well-being for nothing, apparently. You were not concerned for his well-being, Callum. You wanted to, if Comicsgate, because here's the thing, the tweet is by Mad Ruth. Comicsgate.org by Mad Ruth. So of course, he's like, yeah, I'm associated here with this group. What's wrong with that? So of course, Callum knew that Mad Ruth was associated with Comicsgate. Now, in terms of the announcement itself, this was probably the most hypocritical and the most mad I've been about any statement from, because we've had statements from Disney Star Wars, we've had statements from Amazon Lord of the Rings, where they're like, we stand with Moses Ingram, or we stand with our, diverse cast members for the Rings of Power, and all this stuff. And, there have been statements like that before, but this one really got my blood boiling because it says, we encourage everyone to celebrate their differences and beliefs. Bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit that you think that we encourage everyone to celebrate their differences and beliefs. What about my differences and beliefs? I'm a Christian conservative. I guarantee you that, and guess what? I have videos on this channel that are reviewing Comicsgate comics. Some of them I didn't like, but I gave my voice and I said, I really like these ones and I don't necessarily like these ones. But just the fact that I would have a Comicsgate video, you would ostracize me from the community. You would completely segregate me from the community. Which they say later, they say, we will be implementing further protocols for future events to ensure this does not happen again. To ensure that what doesn't happen again? The guy didn't do shit. He was literally just volunteering to ensure what doesn't happen again. The fact that someone from Comicsgate showed up, how are you going to implement future protocols for that? Are you going to have security guards going through the different Twitter pages of everyone going, oh, well, are you Comicsgate? Let me check. Give me your phone. Let me check if you're Comicsgate. Oh, you can't come in the convention then. You can't. Oh, let me see. Are you a conservative? Oh, you can't come in the convention then. How are they going to implement protocols? Are they going to have everyone go through before they buy your tickets, they have to do a screening of your Twitter page? What bullshit do you think that you are implementing further protocols to segregate people from your convention? It's unreal, the hubris that this convention thinks that they can implement segregation onto people who love comic books but may have a differing opinion than you. It also goes on to say that all people should have strong representation within the art community and feel welcomed and supported. Unless you're a certain individual who assigns themselves with a certain group, then you shouldn't feel welcomed and supported. Then you shouldn't be into our group. Is that what you're saying? All people should have strong representation within the art community. All people? Because apparently, by your own words, you are saying that Everyone from Comicsgate, everyone from the LGBTQ community, everyone from different political associations and affiliations. That's what all people means, right? For example, like I said, I'm a Christian conservative. I go to comic conventions all the time. If I see a booth that's LGBTQ, or even like, let's go really crazy. I don't even care about an LGBTQ booth. Great, they're having their representation, and that's fantastic. I love that they're there doing their thing. Let's say there's a booth that is directly not affiliated with Christianity. Let's say there's a satanic booth, and it's all Satan comics, and it's like fucking demons, and like, oh yeah, like fucking 666 satanic comics, that's who we are, blah, blah, blah. They have a right to be there. Though I don't agree with them on any level as a Christian man. I would never agree with the cult of Satanism. But they still have a right to be there. Their comics still get made. They still have every right to have a booth there. And I guarantee this big country comic convention would probably affiliate with this satanic cult as opposed to the Christians. Because Satanists definitely aren't bigots or racists or sexist or anything, but Christians definitely are. Comicsgate, conservatives, those are definitely the bad guys, right? So that's what I mean with the hypocrisy and the hubris of this statement, is the fact that they say that all people should have representation within the art community and should feel welcomed and supported. Really? Everyone? Because if that's the case, you wouldn't be blacklisting people who just have a different opinion than you. All in all, this comic convention and this Callum guy could have said absolutely nothing, and everyone would have been fine. Everyone would have still gone on about their lives. Everyone would have still continued to do what they do on their normal, regular basis. No one would have been hurt, and that's just it. They have to virtue signal and pander and posture. It's just it's like a tick. They can't help but like not do it, So overall, this is a sad state in the comic book industry when we're segregating individuals just based off of what comics they like or what comics they don't like. It's pretty pathetic. The fact that these losers think that these useless individuals think that they can segregate people based off of their affiliation with a comic book community that they enjoy or that they like. Now, like I said, I would encourage everyone to go look at this information for yourself. Please go out and do your own research because I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there was something that happened at the convention that I didn't see, or maybe there was posts that said some awful stuff that I haven't seen yet. But at this moment, from what I can see, this is abhorrent behavior by the comic book convention itself. And I feel bad for individuals who are Christians or are conservatives because at this point, they are being segregated from the things that they love. Mad Ruth was volunteering for this comic convention and is being segregated because of his beliefs. That is how you know that these individuals, the ones who virtue signal the most or the highest, or the ones who pander to this, audience, that's how you know that they have more power than anyone. They control the media. They control the narrative. They control everything. And me as a Christian conservative, if I'm going to be kicked out of this comic community or this comic book convention, I have no say over that. But guess who does? The left-wing, political, SJW type industry that has now taken over a lot of the comic book medium, and they have the last word. They're the ones who are able to make the decisions. So who's really the ones being oppressed here? Who are the ones who are being segregated or attacked for their beliefs, right? Because that's what everyone postures from the left is, or from these SJW comic conventions who are saying we are the ones who want to be inclusive and representative of everyone, but then segregate the second that there's someone who doesn't believe what they're doing, or the second that someone isn't aligned with their political affiliation. It's interesting to see that a comic convention can completely blacklist someone for their beliefs and still say that they are the ones who are oppressed. They are the ones who are segregated, when they're the ones who are controlling all of this. What do you guys think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.